Southfield Redevelopment Authority, meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the open session meeting minutes of July 10th.
I actually have one change on the,
Oh,
David didn't abstain from the minutes of the one before, he only abstained from the SRA Parkway agreement stuff.
Right, that's true. It was daydreaming to abstain and then we corrected.
Right, it was a little bit of a, but only I had to abstain
The
because I
bottom
was not
minutes.
there.
oh, yeah,
So it would just be 701
okay.
with me not
And this is on the vote for executive session? What are you talking?
No, this is on the minutes
Okay,
of last one.
okay.
701.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, well, noted. We can revise those and come back to the next meeting and finalize that. Next, we have a list of executive session minutes. First, we'll start with, so let's see what we have. We have the executive session minutes of October 3rd, 2018.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And Brittany
I abstain.
abstained. Yep, I have my list
All
here.
right.
And just clarification on these, that these are not to be released until all matters are resolved. Next is the November 7th, 2018 executive session minutes. Again, not to be released until all matters are resolved.
Move that be approved.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Wait a minute.
I don't count.
2,
1, 2, 3,
4, we get
4.
5. Yep, we're fine. And myself and Brittany abstain.
Yep.
Executive session minutes of January 16, 2019. Again, not to be released till all matters have been resolved.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Those abstaining?
Abstain.
Brittany? Okay. We have the executive session minutes of January 30th, 2019. Again, not to be released until all matters are settled. We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstaining? Brittany? Next, the executive session minutes of March 20th, 2019.
Motion to approve.
Again, motion with the, just.
Not to be released until all matters are
Okay,
settled.
thank you.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Brittany, you abstain?
Abstain.
Okay. Oh, Brittany, you can join us.
Yep.
May 1st, executive session minutes, May 1st, 2019. Again, not to be released until all matters are settled.
Motion to approve.
We have a second by Dave Rubin. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I abstain.
You abstain. Next, the executive session minutes for June 5th, 2019.
Motion to approve, but not to make public until all matters are settled.
Okay,
Second.
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That's unanimous.
Can I ask who abstained on the 5-1?
Wait.
Yep, Pat.
Larry.
Next, at a request of our last meeting, we had a concern with the site security discussion in the open space and trail maintenance. So I just wanted to be sure we were able to have that conversation and comply with the open meeting law. So I know, Mary, you had brought that up, if you could expand on that. And I know Jim has been doing some work trying to keep some things under control on the site. So certainly we can talk it out and figure out where we are.
Basically, there are people that are just trashing the site. There was a mattress left out there. There's tire tracks where they're just going as fast as they want, which is digging up the dirt. They are ripping out the posts. They've already taken down signs that say no access beyond this point. It's rare species habitat. They've removed them.
Okay.
They removed a sign farther down in a trail where you can't go beyond a certain point because all of that is rare species habitat. They removed that. They drive down it. They actually needed a truck to break the posts, and the chain disappeared and wherever it went, and now a chain on the Twin Ponds Trail is just on the ground so they can just drive through.
Wow.
It's not like they can go far. If they wreck something, it's going to be their vehicle that gets wrecked.
So, we're in this phase right now, no master developer, and the control, obviously Jim, I know Jim and Eric actually went out one day and got a mattress, picked it up, put it in the truck and put it in the dumpster. We've let Washington Capital in related, the two banks that own the majority of the land out there. LSTAR does still own a lot of the open space and recreation land that exists, and they've been not communicating with the SRA at all. So at this point, we can add it to our list of things that we need LSTAR to deal with. But Jim, please add.
Yeah, so I want to provide an update for everyone, because this is a big concern. The property management policies of LSA were, pretty wide open for access, and we're dealing with some of the outfall from that now with a lot of increased property damage and vandalism. LSA did a nice job in actually constructing the trail system, but there really hasn't been any maintenance since that time. So I've taken an opportunity to look at the areas. I've received several calls, from concerned residents about some of the security and safety issues on site. Recently, what we've been trying to do is control vehicular access to that south end of the base, which is really, hopefully will curb a lot of the heavy damage that we're seeing out there in dumping. And so we recently have installed some boulders along the parkway. As you know, we own the parkway, and we're trying to control that edge of the site to keep vehicles from getting onto the south end of the base from the parkway. It's an ongoing issue. I've actually scheduled a second mobilization for our contractor to go back out and do some additional shoring up of that edge. We can see patterns develop over time on people bypassing certain controls, so we're going to be adding some additional controls there, as well as addressing some of the immediate safety concerns in the open space. For instance, there's a large sinkhole on a trail, large being 3 to 4 feet in diameter, 3 to 4 feet in depth. We're gonna work on filling that in, for instance, in the very near future, as well as addressing some of the dumping that's taken place recently, using our contractor to assist with that. So that's all happening in the next few weeks out there, to again try to hopefully eliminate vehicular access, but certainly try to keep it at a really strict minimum and allow access through the gate system that is on site. I've had communications with both Washington Capital and Related on this issue. They're certainly supportive of our efforts, but their reach right now is fairly limited, and they're really relying on our knowledge of the site and our presence on site to really keep them abreast of the situation. And certainly it's incumbent on us to address any immediate safety concerns out there, which there are a few. On top of that, we also have several miles of trails that were constructed, and some of those trails are on property owned by the SRA, and some are still on property owned by LSTAR. I've had the good fortune of actually recently meeting with a local Boy Scout who has an Eagle Scout project approved, and he wants to do some work on the Twin Ponds and Thompson's Pond Trail network here on site later this summer. And that would include trash and debris removal. It would include some additional improvements to the trail network itself, adding benches and footbridges where necessary, replacing and repairing the trail post systems and signage as well, which they're a dual purpose, obviously to try to keep vehicular access off some of the internal trails, but also just signage and wayfinding for the public. So I'm hoping that the combination of these efforts that we're undertaking, as well as this Eagle Scout project, will hopefully start to bring that south end of the site back into a condition that really is warranted at this point.
Is the Eagle Scout project going to need any resources as far as?
He will. He's starting to reach out internally, but I think for the audience here this evening, certainly if there's any individuals or groups that want to assist with this project, whether it's through fundraising or through just on-site help, whether it's a cleanup day, you'll probably have 2 or 3 mobilizations to the site, There'll be a cleanup day, there'll be more of a construction day. But please reach out to me and I can put you in contact with him. This will be happening this summer. His project has been approved and he's in the fundraising stage right now.
Excellent.
And, I'll certainly be reaching out to the Southfield Neighborhood Association as well as the Landowners Association.
You should probably also reach out to the high schools, probably, community service hours probably could go towards this as well.
That's a great point, yeah.
And also maybe we could get it, once we get something formalized, we could get it up on our webpage.
Yes,
So if
yes,
anybody has
this
any questions,
is
we can-
moving pretty quickly, and hopefully he'll raise the funds in short order, and
Great.
hopefully by,
And I'll add to that, that I think the leader is a Quincy leader, and the scout is a Quincy scout, who's connected him to some of the South Weymouth scout leaders, so I think it'll maybe take on a life and pull another Eagle Scout project out of it in the real world.
But it's not up to the scouts to take care of the land that came through the Park Service.
We understand-
And
we
plus,
understand that.
there's construction debris that's been dumped out there. There's somebody that's starting a fire that's on the runway, but it's in between where Elstar started taking down the peat pile, but it's hidden, and that peat pile really needs to be removed.
If people see it, all we could say is call the local police department and notify them and they come out. I know Rockland does some patrols, I do hear them out in the parkway, and we continue to reinforce that.
now, we're fortunate to have this Eagle Scout project at this time. It's
Yeah.
very timely, and we're very fortunate. We know that this is potentially a one-shot deal, but it's a bit of good news, and I'm looking forward to bringing him back before you, once the project is complete.
Excellent, sounds good.
You might want to have Elstar put up monumentation so we know exactly what they still have out there.
Yeah, well, they have to answer their phone and their emails.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get a reply.
On this subject, I will take public comment. Mr. Bromberg, just your name and
Mr.
address.
Chairman, yeah, just two things. One thing I noticed, I talked to Jim about some of the things going on out there, but one thing I noticed, and I didn't mention to Jim, is there's no signage at all from the parkway saying, no unauthorized vehicles, there's not much, if any. So in those areas, because after Jim put the boulders up, it wasn't too long, trucks started hopping the curb and getting out there and parking right there. So maybe some signage would help, just to say, hey, not.
We'll let Washington Capital, because some, depending on where it is, we have to be cognizant of what we own and don't own, that's
Well,
all.
I mean, right at the parkway.
Yeah.
Last week we were down there,
I
there's
don't
signs
remember
along,
recently,
but if they've been removed since then,
Right,
I
I
wasn't
think
there an hour
they've
ago.
been
but-
currently removed, but I have noticed, at least this summer, that there were signs.
Yeah, no one.
Not toward the mast light, not further down part of the.
They're intermittent, but.
We'll take a look at some
there were-
signage.
Yeah, there's
Work
limited
across the
signage out there, and you want to obviously keep it consistent and look at the enforcement abilities as well.
Right.
And realize that we do own the edge of the parkway, but not really beyond that.
Too
So,
far in.
but we're trying to work in consultation with all the interested parties with this
Battery
one.
operated cameras be an option?
We're looking at that now, yep.
And if I could also add, I've been talking with Jim about this too, but if we're inviting people on the trails, I don't know that how the Boy Scouts using any machinery out there, but the grass is deep, there's ticks, and you're inviting people to walk through deep grass now on the trails, and they're gonna get Lyme disease, I almost guarantee it. So if you have any fundage to any
We
fund, you don't.
We don't. We have very limited funding. We are dependent upon the current bank to fund us, and it's on a 3-month basis, and it's very limited. It's a very narrow scope, so we have to tread lightly as we work through this master development process to secure a master developer. Unfortunately, that's just where we're at right now.
So, it might get to a point where you might consider not letting people, saying the public
might
shouldn't be
close.
invited
Yeah.
because of the dangers of that, And if I can add to it, usually this time of year, you can mow it once low, because like Wiley and Strutt's been doing it the last few years, and I go out there. Once you cut it real low this time of year, it normally doesn't grow too fast, so you might be good for a few months. And it's only the south end of the base for the most part. Well, actually, there's some in Weymouth that I haven't seen, Jim. There's not a whole lot. I don't think it would cost $500 or something like that to get it all done, but
We can take a look.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at the mowing on a sort of larger scale very soon, because there is a requirement to the habitat, as you know, every 2 years, and it is time to do that now.
Okay.
So we're going to be revisiting this mowing concern in general across the site very soon.
Okay.
And as you know now, it's going to involve the cooperation of multiple property owners, one of which is L-Star, and there may have to be some legal action taken on that front. But we're going to be revisiting that pretty soon.
Excellent.
Okay.
Any other comments on the security? We're aware of it. We're gonna do what we can.
You're gonna have to put up no hunting signs too, because that's an issue out there. And there's regulators that are out there doing testing of wells and everything that are out there early. You know, and I don't think anyone, I know hunters don't plan on having a stray bullet, but that can happen. And they've taken, well, the signs that were put up blew down and everything else, but at some point, you're gonna have to look at putting in your budget that certain things have to be done. I know in the DDA, it's up to the master developer.
The signs that were put up have fallen down.
There is a policy, but I'm sure the signage is not adequate at this time. And there are many miles of perimeter on the site, and it's an effort to install and enforce. But we do look at that. You know, the season is coming soon.
Any other comments, questions from the board? We'll continue to work with Jim and see what we can do. Next item on the agenda is the land use administrator salary discussion. Just to give you a highlight, we're able to come to terms with land use administrator Jim Young. Jim's been here many years, and I want to thank him for his hard work and just to give an overview of the agreement, it's an employment agreement. We did a 3% salary increase to make it a salary of $107,120. We're also giving him a stipend while we're lack of a master or absence of an executive director that is paid quarterly. We will have a performance and monetary review in December 2019, but other than that, all his benefits will remain the same. His salary will be retroactive to July 1. For the board members, his employment letter is in the packet tonight, and he's also been back and forth with Attorney Galvin. I saw the emails and confirmed with Attorney Galvin that everything is all set and confirmed. So at this point, we just need to vote on the board and go from there.
Make a motion to accept the land use administrator employment agreement and salary discussion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That's unanimous. Okay. Next on the agenda is the recording secretary, independent, to review the independent contract agreement. The agreement is in your packet. I was notified via email yesterday, and I had a board member contact me about increase on the amount. Pat, just a question. I sent an email. It said $125 an hour to $175 an hour, right, per
That's the-
meeting?
Yes, I'm sorry if I put that.
Okay, so the change would be in the rate from the 125, and that would be changed to $175 a meeting. That's the request. Again, she's an independent contractor. It's not done by, it's not an employee, so we don't have withholdings in her agreement. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion.
I'll
We
second.
can have discussion.
Okay,
Yeah.
does anyone, like, I don't know what a normal rate is, like, do we have any comparables, do we have any?
We have no comps at this point. I mean, I could research again. I got this yesterday, so I
Yeah.
haven't got a lot of research on it at this point.
Is that is meeting minutes also something normally that the clerk of the board does, or the board itself does, or?
The board wouldn't do the
Is there
actual
anything?
open meeting minutes, but the open meeting minutes are usually done by a recording secretary
Okay,
or stenographer. I mean, we can,
I think we should table it until we can do some comparison.
okay.
Does anyone, I mean,
We do
that's
have a
my
motion.
I
We
just
do have a
want,
motion on the
like,
floor,
some
but
sort of,
Yeah, I think the recording secretary does a fine job. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no doubt about that. We're an aid authority that has no guaranteed funding beyond the end of this month, from my understanding. And so,
So it might be a moot point.
yeah, well, that's true, but I mean, at this point, I think it is appropriate, you know, when we talk about hiring a treasurer or discussing Jim's salary, these are sort of irreplaceable skill sets at the moment, and we're operating on a absolute shoestring at the moment, so it would be irresponsible to not consider what the market bears at the moment. And in better times, you know, it would be just a sort of the biggest no-brainer on the face of the earth, but I think we should, for appearances, be fiscally responsible.
I will just add to the discussion that 2 years ago, I was offered to be the kind of point person to get some comparables, and the other, we had 2 quotes. One was from Pat, and the other was about 3 times the cost. And that was reaching out to about 4 different places before you could even get somebody to give you a quote, with the other person looking for travel hours and time. And
So that being the
expedited
case,
it.
if we come back with something like that, that would be an appropriate,
Yeah.
you know,
Pat,
not,
nothing?
yeah.
And we're only talking one meeting, right?
Right. Pat, just a quick question. Is that port to port, that 175 covers everything? No
Everything.
travel?
Correct. Yeah.
Everything, complete?
We do have a motion to approve on the floor. You're gonna get a second, or do you want to redo this?
Can't go out,
Technically, we have a motion.
Or should I withdraw the motion?
If you, it's up to you, if you'd like to, yeah, if you want to withdraw.
I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay, and then a motion to table and to research, just to get compliments.
So moved.
Okay,
And it'll be put on the agenda for the next meeting.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
Second.
we have a motion, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, that's unanimous. Okay. Next is the topics not reasonably anticipated by the chairman 48 hours in advance of the meeting. We have none. Public comments of items discussed at tonight's meeting.
I have a comment from today's meeting, which was brought up in kind of 3 or 4 different ways. Can we get a map delineating who owns what properties? Because
That's actually, Attorney Galvin and Jim are working on that. They're trying to identify that. The issue that I know in talking to Jim about this is that we have to go to the assessor's office to identify that, and some of the things haven't caught up yet because of the foreclosure of the land. So as that catches up, I know Jim and Attorney Galvin have been working on that so they can identify it.
do we have an ETA on when that will happen?
Actually, Washington Capital has hired the surveyor who's done the bulk of the work out here, SMC, to assist them with bringing their geological system up in concert with the RFP process. So we're hoping that that's going to be ready within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So it's getting close. I actually reviewed the most recent version of it this week and provided feedback and comment, and waiting on the next version to come back through. It's kind of through a process of elimination of, knowing which entities are kind of locked in for property ownership, and then bringing in all the foreclosures, one of which was very recent. So it's getting very close, and we're just kind of fixing some anomalies right now, and I'm hoping it's going to be ready for prime time very soon. I think it had also included, for instance, they had excluded the roadways from the layers, and so we're trying to add the roadway ownership in now as well. So trying to just get it all together in one,
One master map.
clear map, and not segregate the roads out, for instance, because it's all part of the same discussion. So
And it'll cover Endeavor, and it'll cover the trails.
yes, it will. Essentially, it'll be set on an aerial map as well, but it'll cover the recent foreclosure and the new owners, as well as the SRA, L-Star, National Park Service, and Navy, and Coast Guard, and FAA, and others. So it's coming together pretty nicely, and we're all anxious to see it. So.
Great, thanks, Chair.
Any other public comment on items talked about at tonight's meeting?
I'd like to know if we get put on the agenda to get the Navy maps of this place up and on the walls, because it's all public information. I know they have bigger maps, and there used to be the maps, Park Service map and everything else that were on these walls, up until Kevin Donovan was appointed, and then all of a sudden the walls are bare. But there are Navy maps that need to be up here because there are
See
issues
what
that
I did
people
there?
need to know. Yeah, this one's the newest one, the land use controls that are on certain areas of land here, and this is the one that has the FOSS, what's been transferred, what the Navy still holds, and so on and so forth.
To that discussion, I think once we do have that property ownership map, it would be very helpful to have that
Yeah.
on the wall for all of our discussion purposes. So-
Great.
So we'll look at that as well. I don't like looking at bare walls, so.
Excellent. Any other
There
public
used to be
comment?
pictures of it.
Yeah,
Any other public
We
comment?
mailed them to you.
Of me.
yeah, I have a whole bunch of those pictures too.
Our next meeting is August 7th. It's a Wednesday, and I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.